Jules, question. I'm being flown out to corporate headquarters for a final interview with the VP for a national PMO role. Love it. Any tips for an in-person meeting with an executive? So, Jules, number one, I know you have access to the interview intervention 10th anniversary session, or program, the whole product that we built back in November. And number one, in general, you know that all of my best interviewing tips, tricks, tactics, and so on are in there. For you, if I'm going and I'm going to be going to an in-person interview, I would be making sure that I revisited, if you have not already seen it, the mastering the storytelling session, as well as acing any job interview sessions, because one is about storytelling structure, which you definitely need, and make sure that those are in order. And the other one is how to actually ace the different types of interviews, of which in-person and meeting with a senior person would be in there. Now, that's the general guidance. If I'm going to be in-person meeting with an executive, you want to make sure that you are maintaining conversation levels at the executive level. If you are talking bits and bytes about your role and how you're going to do this and that, that's not going to go over as well as how your role is going to support the corporate goals, what it's going to do, what it's going to enable that executive or the executive management team to see. Let me give you an example of the differences in what I mean, because I think the illustration will really help you. If you are talking with an executive and you are getting into the bits and bytes of how you do what you do, if they ask you to do that, that's fine. Then you're going to give them, right, how you ran this project, give them context around the project, you give them your playbook, the outline, and so on and so forth. Okay, I know you know what I mean as a boot camper, right? So you're going to get into, okay, and then I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this, and so on. Okay. That's not the level you want to be at unless they ask you to walk me through how you did this. At the PMO level, you want to be talking about things like, well, when I run PMOs, the primary focus is to ensure that you not only know what projects are going to yield the highest ROI for us and the sequence in which we should do that, but you're also going to know, right, which ones are going to be top line, focused, which ones are going to be bottom line focused, and you'll have the sequence in which to run your projects based on and making sure that they're congruent with the corporate goals, the corporate culture, the corporate mission, the customer support, whatever. And you want to make sure that you're talking about how what you do matters to the person who's listening to you. So, I design the PMOs and our ability to manage and prioritize the project based on business cases that I work with in conjunction with the customer, meaning the internal customer, stakeholders. We review it, and then I lay out for you which ones are going to give you the greatest return, the fastest payback period, and so on and so forth. You're taking what you do and talking about how it's going to matter to them and how you're going to work with that executive and what that executive is going to get from you and how that executive is going to benefit. If you go downstream and you talk about how you run projects and PMOs as it relates to efficiently delivering them, that's not where you want the conversation. A lot of you do this because you think that's where the gold is, because you want to show how well you are at running the PMOs. You are not in a session or an interview where you are actually needing to sell your tactics. Get that. You're not selling your tactics to the executive. You're selling the benefits to the executive and why the executive would know that you think of things differently, look at things differently, are able to process things differently, deliver things differently. Because when you're talking to me, I don't care how you do all that. I want to know I'm going to make more money, save more money, have happier customers, and so on. So you need to talk in this language here. Okay, are y'all tracking with me? I have an endless number of individual coaching sessions just like this, where we completely blow up the stories that somebody wants to tell in favor of the stories that they actually need to tell, which leads me to believe that a lot of you probably go this way instead of going this way. Now, I'm just talking about how this benefits an executive. If Jules was going to be talking to the staff, it would be, well, when we do this, I'm going to look at you and we're going to align the projects that I prioritize and the ones you get to work on based on your goals, this and that, the other thing. And then you go the other way. So this is, and when you're talking with your immediate boss, you need to talk tactics, but you need to talk executive level stuff first. I'm sorry, or as well, both, meaning you need to cover both in the scope of your dialogue. So this is really, really important, because a lot of you're like, well, Andy, I didn't get that job. Well, you know what? You were perfectly equipped to get the job. You did a poor job selling yourself in the interview. The interview is not about how well you do your job. I need that to register. The interview is not about how awesome you are at doing what you do. I'm sure you can. If you're interviewing, what do I say? You're qualified, right? The person who's most qualified isn't always the person who gets the job. In fact, it's rarely the person who gets the job. The person who sells themselves the best is the person who gets the job. So the person that goes upstream with the executive and talks at this level, here's how you're going to benefit. Here's what you're going to do. Here's why I know this is going to be important to you. Here's the dashboard I'm going to build you. Here's how you're going to be able to use it. Here's what it's going to tell you. You're going to be able to make the decisions faster. You're going to make sure you know what the priority should be. You're going to be able to sync it. I'm going to tailor all that for you and spoon feed it to you, kind of thing. That's why I'm a better candidate than anybody else. Cool? All right, Jules, awesome stuff. Just what I expected, but higher level. Okay. Go get him. Make me proud, please.